Riveting content. Empowering your life. Welcome to the Sphere. This episode is sponsored by Houston Housewives of Finance. For more information on increasing your cash flow, becoming your own money manager, and to schedule your complimentary personal finance strategy, contact the Houston Housewives of Finance today at 1-844-700-4463. Looking to advertise? Join the Sphere's vast demographic reach of thousands of people all over the world. Send an email today to advertise@thesphere.tv or call us at area code 832-772-7789. KOG and Company. Are your unique gifts and talents changing the world? Do you desire to belong to a community of unity? Visit KOGpassion.com to learn more about the Unleash Your Dopeness movement.
Well, hello. Thank you for joining us on the Docs on the Sphere Network, where we are here to educate, inform, and empower you about health and wellness topics. I am Dr. Chandra Batiste, and I welcome all of you guys back to the show. I am, of course, a dentist, and I do own my own dental practice, which is located at the corner of Fondren and Westheimer. The name is Elite Dental Wellness, and you can find me at www.houstondentalwellness.com. Or you can find me on Instagram at hotdoc.com, Facebook and Twitter and all other platforms, Chandra Batiste. Thanks for joining us. And so I'm not solo at the table, but Dr. Simone Ellis, once again, is not in the building. This should not come as a surprise to anyone in this room. However, she allegedly attempted to Skype in. And I put this here because I talk trash about her when she's not here. Mm-hmm. Because I don't care. Like I have zero chill. I think that she deserves all of the clowning because she gets to gallivant while I cook a kid. So it's just not, I feel like it's just not the same. So, but I do, however, have a wonderful guest host with us today. We have Dr. Shenita Outland. She is a pharmacist. She actually works with a large insurance organization. Mm-hmm. And she owns her own travel agency. So welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So please tell the world who you are.
Well, again, Dr. Shenita Outland. I'm a clinical pharmacist. I've been in my position for about 5 years. I have done different aspects of pharmacy, everything from retail to ambulatory care. And now I'm in managed care working for a large healthcare organization. And I'm happy to be here today. And well, yes, I do own a travel agency, and we'll dive a little bit into that very briefly because it can be used for non-medicinal reasons.
So you get to gallivant as well?
Yes. So I can't say anything about Dr. Ellis. I encourage it.
Allegedly, she's gallivanting and learning.
That's what she says.
That's what she says. I need to see the receipts.
Right.
I need receipts because I just sometimes don't believe her because according to some of her Instagram posts, she be looking real fun and fly.
By the pool.
By the pool. That's not learning.
We'll see.
I need to see receipts. So you tell me why you got into pharmacy. What was there anything that made you say like I want to be a pharmacist?
So I went to high school for health professions, and apparently
so you're a Houstonian.
I am.
One time, H time.
And apparently I was the only one that was fascinated by what the pharmacist did. Everyone else was into the surgeries and, the ER and this, that, and the other. And I came back and I was like, that pharmacist knew what people had just by the drugs that they were getting filled. And everybody was like, really? I found it fascinating.
Okay.
So that was at the age of 18. And I was like, you know what? That would put me in a position to help my grandmother who was starting to get on meds at the time.
Okay.
So I just found it fascinating that you could ingest these little pills and they have all these effects on the body. And I wasn't into the blood and gore of surgeries and whatnot. So I was like healthcare professional, but not necessarily in the hospital. And then as a pharmacist, you can work in like so many different avenues. So I was like, okay, I can switch it up. I was like, this is great.
Sure. And so you went to high school for health professions.
Yep.
And then after that, you went
to Xavier University.
How did I know?
Yes, Xavier, right? XU. So yes, I am a proud alum of Xavier University. Okay. And I did undergrad and pharmacy there.
Wonderful, wonderful. So you've been practicing now how long?
11 years.
Wow. Yeah. Over the decade. I made over
but
the
I'm
decade.
Only 21.
And oh yeah, I mean I'm a child genius, clearly, because I made over the decade in June, and I was like, how did that happen?
Right.
How did we become like doctors for this long?
Right. Over a decade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're still standing, so that's good. That's good. And
Right.
you have a side business, which I think does always help with like alleviating some of the stresses.
Good contrast.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So clearly today the topic is going to be drugs, and not necessarily like hypertension medicine.
No.
Or diabetic medicine. Today we're discussing things like Mask Off, which stresses me out. I've always hated the song.
Oh, no.
No, I literally hate the song. I hate
Why?
the song.
I'm just curious.
So I hate the song because, and then you're going to show the video, like,
Hey.
yeah, of course the beat is banging, but
It
but
is.
the only thing that you can really understand out of the whole song is
Molly Percocet. True.
That's the only thing you can understand. And so for me, being a mom and knowing that pop culture influences our children and young people's minds so easily.
Right.
I hate the fact that this song, regardless of the beat, is so popular that someone who may not have ever known about Molly and Percocet now gets on his or her smartphone or Googles it and is like, oh, well, this seems actually kind of cool, because realistically, growing up, like, let's all be very real here, growing up, drug abuse either scared you or it excited you. Like, there's not too many people that were like, I may smoke some weed. People were like, either my daddy gonna kill me if I smoke this weed, or ooh, I'm actually interested in smoking the weed. So I just feel like introducing it through such strong mediums as social media and entertainment. And you're gonna play it?
Hey. I literally heard it earlier. It's sad. But like you said, they attach it to this like dope beat, and you don't even realize you're singing about Molly Percocet. Like, I'm a pharmacist singing about Molly Percocet. Stop.
Right, pharmacist.
Right.
So that's, to me, that's the biggest like kind of thing, is that how pop culture has taken these things. And we had a whole episode on lean, right? Drank, right? So clearly recreational drug abuse is going to be there no matter what. But the light that pop culture puts on it, I think, is disheartening.
Yeah, they make it seem so light, like it's not a big deal. And they, like I said, they attach it to some trendy beat, and then you have young kids, they don't even know what they're talking about, singing about the drug.
Right. And the reality of it is that I'm a big believer in like things being put into our children's fabric unintentionally, right? So, being hot-headed as a parent, you're like, okay, I don't want that to be something that my children may not have had naturally, but they pick it up because mom is hot-headed, right? And so I just feel like something as simple as social media and its influences can be put into our children's fabric so easily that when they see people popping Molly's and Percocets, it's not like, oh, whoa,
A
that's
big
a
shock.
bad thing.
Yeah. It's
No,
like,
no.
oh, this song talked about it.
Right.
It's fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Or let me see what this is about. Since we're all doing it, or since y'all are doing it, let me see what this is about. You know?
That's true. Kind of piques their interest.
Absolutely.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm not saying that music should not have some fun to it. Clearly,
No, nearly a lot of songs reference it, even if it's not blatant. more than a few reference it, and it's alarming.
It is alarming.
Yeah.
And I guess my thing is it alarming? Well, why do you feel like pop culture has decided to take something that is so negative, right? Like drug abuse, illegal drug abuse, and put it in their music? Is it the prevalence of it? Are people really using it like that?
That was one of my reasons. That was one of the
Okay.
things I was going to say. I think they're using it. So
Okay.
they're just kind of living their truth and presenting what they do. So, we make money, we do this, and we pop pills and we drink this.
Right.
And they slip it into songs and they glorify it. I mean, and even when you, like I said, sometimes it's obvious and sometimes it's not. Like, I jammed this song by The Weeknd. It's called "Can't Feel My Face."
Yeah.
Or "I Can't Feel My Face."
Yeah.
So I will admit, I get into the beats first,
Of course.
and then I go back and I'm like, what is this song even talking about? And then I'm starting to listen to the lyrics, and I'm like, oh, okay, he's talking about a female. And then I was like, well, why is he hanging with somebody and he can't feel his face? He's talking about cocaine.
Absolutely.
And I'm sitting up here just singing it. I can't feel my face. And I'm like, really? The whole song. And I think it's because recreationally, that's what they do.
Sure.
So they're making songs about it.
Sure.
I'm vibing out. This is what got me here. This is what I took to. And,
Right.
I'm
Right.
sharing
This
with
is what
you
I'm
all.
doing in the stew. I mean, we're not doing that in this stew.
Not
just
in this stew.
Putting that
No.
out there. This is water, agua. Really? I swear. He's just gonna play all these
It
songs that drive me
jams.
crazy.
It jams.
I never liked the song either.
Really, I'm not a huge fan of his, but I really like this song. And then it has like an upbeat, so
Yeah,
you're
you're
just
like,
in the
ooh,
car
this
just
is-
bouncing.
Yeah, you're
and
like,
I'm
oh,
why
this is
can't
a
he
little
feel his
Bruno
face?
Mars.
Right.
No, it's not.
Sad. So he has no worries,
Right. He's talking
and now all
about
of a sudden
cocaine.
he can't feel his face.
Yeah, well, and I mean, realistically, they've been talking about drugs forever.
For
in music.
years.
I mean,
For
Mary
years.
Jane is
Right.
obvious, Rick
I think
James
the Beatles
example.
talked about LSD. I mean, this is not
Absolutely.
new, but it's
not
just, again, the access that kids have.
Mm-hmm.
You can just Google a song, go on YouTube, subscribe to Spotify or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The access that they have to these, it's harder to regulate for parents to regulate. Then they have the different genres and like how they jazz up these songs. I mean, it makes you want to listen to them. It's not
does.
like it's adult music. Like, I mean, some of it has like this happy-go-lucky
Yeah.
vibe to it.
Yeah.
So kids are drawn to it, and it's just easy for them to pull it up, and then they start singing these lyrics. And the younger they are, it's like you don't even know what you're talking
You have
about.
no clue what you're talking about. And so I definitely feel like pop culture is they'll never take responsibility for it, because for them, they're like, we're not here to be your children's role models, because they say that all the time. All of these celebrities, when they get into trouble and they're like, moms and dads are all upset because somebody has put a certain celebrity on a pedestal, they're like, well, we're living our lives, you need to
Right.
teach your children how to live theirs.
I'm here to entertain, not to be your kid's role model.
Right, exactly. And that's a fair statement from a celebrity. However,
You have influence.
you have influence, and you have been blessed with a platform, and
Right.
how you are choosing to use it can be responsible or irresponsible.
Right.
And so that's why I can appreciate more of the the preaching hip hop, like J. Cole and all these other these rappers that are out there, but he's not getting playtime like Future.
Right.
Mask off.
Right.
He's not, and he should. But to me, that's preference, and I feel so old when I talk about it, because I'm like, what happened to the cool 28, 25, 24? Like people literally look at me when I say I don't like Bodak Yellow, and they're like, what happened to Ashandra? I'm like, first off, let's be very clear. That song is garbage. And I think I would actually enjoy hanging out with Cardi B.
Agreed.
But that doesn't mean that her music is
But
good.
let's get technical with,
Right.
with the music. Come on now.
Right,
The
she's-
beat hits. What is she talking about?
Nada.
Her flow. Stop. But that's a whole nother show.
Right, so I feel old when I do this, but it is what it is, and this is, and by the way, the Sphere has are you really? Gary, You're actually killing me today. I'm gonna walk off the set. He's actually killing me.
He's playing every song
Oh
you
my
just
God,
dislike.
that makes my skin like flip on the inside, then crawl. Oh my God. So
Thank
really,
you.
really, like I would need to be on Molly and Percocet to actually enjoy that song.
You probably would.
So if we could explain to the people who do not know what exactly,
But are singing it.
yeah, but are jamming it, not singing it. What exactly is Molly and Percocets?
So 2 different drugs. So you have Molly, which basically is just another name or a derivative for ecstasy. So all they did was they kind of tweaked the compound a little bit, and they made Molly, and they gave it this cute little harmless name, so that you'd want to play with her. But essentially, it is methylene dioxymethamphetamine. So that's the real name for Molly.
Methamphetamine.
Dioxy
Go ahead and catch that last
methamphetamine.
one. That last one, methamphetamine.
Or MDMA. That's how we abbreviate it. And essentially, it's a stimulant. When you talk about drug abuse, it falls into 3 different categories. You have stimulants, you have depressants, and you have hallucinogenics. Now, Molly does have some hallucinogenic properties, but it's because it is a derivative of methamphetamine. It's a stimulant, so it gives you the sense. It gives you a high. It gives you a high. You feel euphoric. It's called the hug drug because your body temperature goes up, you get warm, you start feeling more sensual. Pretty rapid onset.
What is that song, Papa Molly, I'm Sweating? Yeah.
Papa Molly, I'm sweating.
That's
why he's sweating.
Woo!
And at some point, you can't regulate your body temperature.
And you die.
And you die. You dehydrate and you die.
Just so you know, all these drugs can kill you.
Yeah,
so
they can in large
you
quantities.
sweat and then you die.
Yep.
Because if you're like me today where I'm officially dehydrated, my lips look like this because I'm dehydrated and I am rocking the Alicia Keys Go Bear today.
Yes.
Not on purpose. Let's get that very clear. However, I'm extraordinarily dehydrated. So if you see me slabbing up a little chapstick, I would take a Molly and die because I'm not hydrated.
You're already dehydrated.
Right.
And which causes organ failure, and then you die. So
great.
Not cute at all. Thanks, Molly. And then so that's a stimulant or an upper and then you pair that with Percocet, which is a downer or a depressant. It's an opioid. It's typically used for pain, but when you take the 2 together, they have roughly the same onset of action.
Okay. So
it's going to, once you kind of go up with Molly, Percocet kind of brings you down, so it doesn't it's not like a quick withdrawal effect.
Okay.
So people oftentimes pair it together, and they work about the same period of time too, so it's a great pairing.
So you're commending the pair.
But
you're like saying it like it's
from
like
a technicality,
chips and salsa. Like that's a bomb ass pair.
It is like a chips and salsa, but I'm not condoning it at all.
So let's condone this portion of the show that is actually sponsored by Houston Housewives of Finance. Did you know that only 4 states in the United States offer financial education? 33%, or more than 77 million of Americans, don't pay their bills on time. 39% of Americans carry credit card debt from month to month, and 39% of adults say they don't have enough savings. Don't become one of these statistics. Let Houston Housewives of Finance advise you on increasing your cash flow and becoming your own money manager by scheduling your complimentary personal financial strategy. Contact Houston Housewives of Finance today at 1-844-700-4463 or email us at info@houstonhousewivesoffinance.com. Ask us how you can participate in a complimentary financial literacy workshop near you. Houston Housewives of Finance are the new faces of the new age of financial services. My mom is on Facebook Live saying, ain't nothing cute about Molly. Mom, yes.
That's right.
I would agree with you. Thank you.
Agreed, Mommy.
Thank you. Hey, Millie, what's up? You tuned in? What up, girl? So with the salsa and chips combination of Molly and Percocet, what ends up happening is the abuser does not ever really get as high as they would potentially maybe with Molly, because the Percocet is kind of toning them down just a little bit.
Well, it takes the edge off the coming down portion. So
down.
you do still get that heightened euphoria and all the great side effects, I guess, that come with Molly, but it takes the edge off as you're coming down.
Okay. Got it. So what is, like, how does it work? Tell me the science behind Molly. Like, what is it? What are the brain effects? Tell me, how does it make you sweat? Why does it do this? For those science-minded, the type A personalities out there.
Yeah, so with it being like a derivative of methamphetamine, it stimulates the system. So it basically works on 3 receptors in the brain.
Okay.
There's serotonin, there's dopamine, and there's norepinephrine. So when you stimulate these, it kind of has like an antidepressant effect. So it makes you happy.
Sure.
And then it hits certain neurotransmitters and causes this alertness, but it causes it stimulates everything. So blood pressure will increase, blood temperature will increase, your awareness, like your senses are kind of in overdrive. So it's a stimulant.
Okay.
That's exactly how it works.
Got it. So between it affecting dopamine and serotonin and norepinephrine, you're just like kind of all your little...
Everything is increased.
Everything.
Yep.
Everything. And
Increased
so because
appetite,
all
everything.
of these things, typically, when they're healthy, are supposed to work to make us happy and to stimulate us in a healthy way, now you've overstimulated everything, which then, of course, increases... your heartbeat, your blood pressure, your temperature, everything else, which is the risk of Molly.
Right. In large quantities, I mean, everything that we just talked about is sent into overdrive. So you're like your senses are like in overdrive. And at some point you actually lose the ability to regulate your own body temperature. And that's how you end up like overheating, becoming dehydrated, leading to organ failure. And dying.
Right, and death. So, the popularity of it we've already talked about, but I distinctly remember Bad Boys 2.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that? And that's the big thing that I remember with Ecstasy, because even though it was popular, like, I never, like, knew anyone. Like, I literally cannot say at this moment that I know anyone that's taken Ecstasy.
Same. I agree.
And, I mean, I'm happy to say that. However... watching that movie, I was like, oh, I see why it's popular, because it's like a rave drug. It's a party drug. It's like a club drug. We're already so hyped to be here, and we're just happy to be here, and we want this to keep going. And so, whether it's I want to keep partying all night, or I want to have sex all night, or I want to drink all night, like, it's one of those drugs that can keep you moving.
Right.
And it's, from what I understand, it's cheaper than like Coke, and I mean, I guess it's cleaner than...
Yeah, Molly's supposed to be a purer form of ecstasy, so it's supposed to be like the latest and greatest.
Oh, well, kind of like how my boy in Breaking Bad had the purest form of meth.
Sure.
Oh, so it all makes so much more sense why to use it. Once again, I'm being so sarcastic because I don't understand why I would I don't like, and I would say this to my pharmacist co-host, I hate taking synthetic drugs. I hate it.
Agreed.
I have to, because I'm hypertensive, and so I have to, which is, I do it. But I damn sure am not going to take a synthetic drug that could also kill me. So, like, that whole idea of something being cooked up and then made, I'm like,
exactly. It's a designer drug.
Right.
Do you even know how much to take?
Because it has no regulations. No. Versus, like, Percocet is actually a drug that's pharmaceutically actually somebody, you got it illegally, however... And it all the pills are the exact same.
Right.
Versus Molly's, because they could be made kind of anywhere. You really don't know what you're taking.
Right.
Girl. See?
And even with taking Percocet, I mean, you get it. Are you really monitoring how much you're taking? I don't know how much Percocet you're supposed to take with Molly to make this Molly Percocet combination.
It's not like salsa and chips. One chip can do like 2 dips.
Right.
But it ain't the same with Molly and Percocet.
I don't know that combination.
Oh, no. Mm-mm. Oh, man. What good are you, doctor? My mom is commending you on you being very informative and that you love that your explanations are she loves that your explanations are very clear.
Well, thank you.
So absolutely. Deb, she says thanks. Well, we're about to end this Facebook Live. So Mom, I'll see you tomorrow actually with the kids. So thank you so much for all that you do. We're about to end. So thank you for all that have joined us today. We appreciate your support. We please ask that you subscribe to our show. We have several ways to subscribe. You can do it on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. If you would please also, as you're subscribing, review our show on iTunes with constructive feedback. We love to hear constructive criticism, especially when I don't have on any makeup. Give me like the positive to it. I did not sleep well last night, so you can go ahead and talk about whatever, but constructively, like Doc, hey, we like it when you slay a little bit. We appreciate that, Share this Facebook Live post and the entire show with your friends and family. These shows are so important to expanding our knowledge for not only, like, this is not just a child-oriented topic. We have adults that are abusing these drugs, and we have several drugs that we'll be talking about later on in this show that I was schooled on just right before the show even started today, as far as abusing that's becoming more popular. So these are just things that we want you to know so that you can be on the lookout and get the attention that people need as soon as possible. Donate to donate to our mission to bringing this kind of wonderful content to you guys every week by going into your pocketbook, pulling out your credit card, paying your credit card on time, and Houston Housewives of Finance can give you all of that information. However, you can go to www.thesphere.tv/donate to help us out. So thank you so much, Facebook Livers. We appreciate you. Hey, Teal. You know Teal.
I do.
Teal says hey.
Hey, Teal.
And Pernissa.
Hey, S.
There you go. You got some fans, boo. You got some fans. Thanks, guys. Share. We appreciate you guys.
Please.
Alrighty. So we've talked Molly. We've talked Percocet. We know what we're dealing with here when our masks are off. Who is using this right now? Just give us kind of a breakdown because from what I see is that males are using it more than women, or males are using it more than females. Mm-hmm. It's more abused by the Hispanic community, significantly more. So it's Hispanic 9%. In the white community, it's 6%, and in the black community, it's 4%. These are with students, by the way, so these aren't like necessarily adults. Okay. And that it's higher among the 11th and 12th graders than 10th and 9th graders. So about 9% of 11th and 12th graders are using Molly/Perks. And then 10th graders and 9th graders is 6% and 4%.
That's sad.
Respectively. Yeah, respectively. And that it's the highest abuse is in Nevada, which is very interesting to me.
Really?
And the lowest is in Nebraska with this specific drug.
I wonder if usage is higher for a lot of things in Nevada.
It could be. I mean, Nevada. So from what I understand, and this is just kind of general knowledge, that rural communities in general tend to abuse some of these kind of recreational drugs a little bit more heavily in their communities. Not to say that they're not doing it in the metropolitan areas. However, in rural communities, they tend to struggle more with the heroin epidemic and all these other epidemics that are kind of taking over our society. And rural societies tend to do it. And from the research and the things that I have read and seen, it tends to be a boredom piece. It tends to be like let's fill our time with doing this. And so that could be, I mean, Nevada, most of it's desert besides, and even the two cities that aren't desert are still desert. Mm-hmm. So maybe, and then, like, prostitution's legal in Nevada, so why not, you know, pop a couple mollies and sweat.
Hit the strip.
So monitoring the future, there was a survey done for 41,000 high school students and found that 36% of 12th graders think that getting ecstasy is easy.
It probably is. I mean, I'm not a user, so I don't know how easy it is. I don't even know who's making this stuff. I mean,
Right.
you have to first get the methamphetamine, and then take it to a lab and tweak it. I don't know who's doing this, and then they decided, okay, ecstasy, let's make a pure form and call it Molly.
Sure.
And let's pair it with Percocet. I don't know if that comes in a combination pill or what, or if you take both of them separately, but apparently, it's pretty easy, especially with the statistics you just gave. I mean, high school students
We're talking high schoolers.
can just go and get it.
We're not talking college age. The surveys
And that's who I think is might be the higher population.
I would
using
assume.
it because they're going to raves.
I would
and
assume.
That's
and they have the freedom of being
Right.
in college, or let's just not even say college age. We'll just say postgraduate age,
Yeah.
where you have graduated from high school and now you're out of your mother and father's home. You've gotten your first job,
Right.
or you're in college. Your freedom is now way up here. And so one thing that I would love to talk about as far as like these college age kids is the abuse, which I just found out today, like 20 minutes ago, is the abuse of attention deficit drugs.
Yeah.
So, I have firsthand experience of Adderall abuse and all that, right? Like I'm like, and not abuse, and I hate saying the word abuse, but where it's not needed and it's still taken.
Gotcha.
And it is a pure stimulant.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, like up for 36 hours type stimulant.
Right.
So the students that are in school trying to just excel,
Right.
or they are falling behind, or they have never been in this type of environment that's this challenging. They're like, well, let me go ahead and get some ADHD. I can fake being attention deficit.
Right. And that's the problem. It's just way too many misdiagnoses of like ADHD. It's like, do you really have it? So I think it's overtreated. I don't think everyone on ADHD drugs have ADHD, but like you said, you can go in and kind of fake the symptoms, get the prescription, and Adderall tends to be the culprit. I mean, you have Ritalin, but Adderall apparently, I think because of maybe its onset and how quickly it acts, for whatever reason, Adderall is more of the culprit than Ritalin. And that's exactly why college students use it. It increases their or they feel that it increases their cognitive ability. They can take in more information. They're more alert. But long-term use, and if you abuse it, can actually have the reverse effects. And you'll start to see like memory loss, and you just kind of come down off of it.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
let's talk about that as soon as we talk about who brings us this portion of the show. Just so happens to be my favorite network of podcasts, The Sphere. Are you starting your business and looking for a place to advertise? Do you have a need to reach out to thousands of people across the world to build your brand or sell your product? If so, get your product placement and advertising needs handled right here at The Sphere. We offer a wide variety of content delivery platforms, including iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, YouTube, and Stitcher. Plus, we have a vast demographic reach within the United States, as well as modern countries across the globe. Our enriched content and inspiring dialogue, coupled with your strategic ad, is surely to hit the mark every time. Call us today at area code 832-772-7789, or you can send an email over to advertise@thesphere.tv, and Gary will make it happen. So that would freak me out if I was abusing Adderall, and now my sharp skills are set back.
On the decline.
Well,
Right.
so would this happen over time, or are you talking about a short-term period? So I used Adderall to take, my first semester courses, and then my second semester courses, which are of course compounded from information from semester one. Are you saying that my memory may be affected if I go into, or even if I'm still abusing Adderall, go into semester two, I won't be able to remember semester one? Or is it just semester 2 that I'm going to have short-term kind of, I cannot keep this stuff in my head?
Two things would need to occur. One, you would have to ingest it more than the prescribed dose. So
Okay.
you would have to have an overuse of the
Okay.
product. So not your typical like 15 milligram, 30 milligram. You'd have to like be abusing the product and also using it over a prolonged period of time.
Okay.
So it's a combination of both.
So-
So you just taking it as prescribed, and you should be. I mean, it's highly regulated. You should be going in for periodic checks, and you can't have it refilled more than like 6 months out. So you should be continue to get tested to make sure that levels are okay, because they can check. I mean, it literally does have what we call a CNS or central nervous system effect. It stimulates that system, and it blocks like the reuptake of some of those receptors we were talking about earlier, like the dopamine and the serotonin and norepinephrine.
Okay.
It blocks that, and it causes it to kind of hang around your system longer.
So you're not even picking it up, the
Right.
serotonin and the
Right. It doesn't
norepinephrine.
block the reuptake. So they're just kind of hanging around. And that's how it has its effect. But in response to that, if you're abusing it, overusing it, using it for a prolonged period of time, the body tries to compensate for that and will then kind of you actually see the reverse effects of it. So like depression, anxiety, agitation.
That's what I was
things
going to
like
ask, because
Yep.
if you're not picking up that dopamine, serotonin, and norepinephrine,
You become
those
really
are the
irritable.
right. Well, and those are also one of the main things that people who have depression aren't picking up in their system. So they get put on antidepressants to help pick up that serotonin and all these other things, right? So, I mean, literally someone who did not have ADHD
Yeah.
now is finding out that they really actually may have some form of attention deficit that now can no longer be managed with ADHD medicines because you've abused them and you are now depressed, which sucks because realistically, I mean, I think it's, and this is just straight up zero. This is mama talking. This is not doctor talk. This is no
Yeah.
research. This is nothing. I think ADHD is way overdiagnosed.
Absolutely.
Especially in minority communities. Period, point blank.
Absolutely.
I think little brown boys are diagnosed as being ADHD when they are just boys.
Right.
Like my son, and I need to get my arsenal ready for that teacher that comes to me and says, "Yo, baby
Has ADHD.
Yeah, I can't. Like, I'm waiting for the moment because I'm gonna bless her soul. Like, I'm gonna bless her.
You gonna let it happen?
Oh, she gonna remember that up and down for the rest of her life. Like,
you gonna put her on me?
no, I'm gonna touch her. Like she gonna be blessed, because the reality of it is that my husband and his brother were both diagnosed with some form of ADHD. My brother-in-law never was as severe as my husband, and my husband does have like where he's kind of gnattish,
yeah.
where he's like, you know. But the thing about it is that if it's something that garners his attention, i.e. baseball, he would go out and hit a baseball, and he had set up, rigged some stuff. He could do that for hours. So that's not someone who has attention deficit. That's
Right.
someone who is not being stimulated in the way that they prefer to be stimulated. And so his mom with both of them were like, I'm not putting you on anything. We're going to work this out. And so
there are a lot of behavioral techniques that really should
Absolutely.
be implemented before you jump to an ADHD
I
medication.
100%
And I
agree.
agree. I mean, ADHD is very real, and
I do believe it's real. I do believe
it's
yes.
overdiagnosed.
Yes, I do believe that there's a real element to it.
Yeah.
I 100% believe that there are people out there that have it very realistically, and
Right.
they need, and like they say that adult ADHD is becoming a bigger thing now.
It is.
Yeah.
And I don't know I don't know exactly why, but yeah, like, you're, this functioning, you get through adolescence and even, young adulthood, and then, you hit 40 and it's like, I can't focus.
Well, so this is I feel like my attention has changed over the last several years. I think one is we grew up in a time where we were not so stimulated. So I think that when I grew up and we were in the car on a long car ride,
Yep.
it was either I was sleeping, I was reading a book, I was doing crossword puzzles, or I was sleeping. Like, it wasn't like, ooh, turn the music up. Ooh, let me
Yeah.
get an iPad. Ooh, the iPad's right here. So like our adolescence was not filled with so much like kind of external stimulation.
I agree with you. Yeah.
And then we get to become adults, and not only are all of us, so many of us are overworked. We are under rested, so we
Yes.
do not get enough rest.
Right.
And we are also overstimulated because of the way we now assess and gain our entertainment. So people like myself who used to read a lot of books, I'm not reading as many books. I'm watching television. I'm on my
Right.
iPad. So it's like boom, boom, boom. And then I have I'm about to have 3 kids. 3 kids, a dog, a husband. I'm like, oh, Jesus.
So in
I
addition
can't
to like
remember
regular
anything
life, we're just overstimulated
in
with,
general.
like, yeah.
Right. So I think that we have a less capability, like kind of naturally, or that we grew up with, to kind of manage all of this stimulation. But then you have people like my parents that are like, they still have their TV off so many days out of the week. And so they're
Right.
like, my attention I'm fine.
Right.
Because they're not kind of falling down the
Right.
rabbit hole.
They know how to focus.
Right.
Right.
So it's this kind of like us that are kind of stuck in between. We didn't grow up with it, but now we live the life of like 9,000 emails in my email account right now. So I think that that's a good, in my opinion, that would maybe be a reason for some of this adult attention stuff and being pulled in too many different directions.
I agree, yeah.
It's more of we are wearing too many hats, and the way we get our data or information is just completely different than how we were raised on
Yeah.
it.
We're encouraged to like multitask. And then
Yeah.
they keep coming out with apps and things like that to help our productivity.
Yeah.
So we're encouraged to like jump from one thing to the other.
No, for real. Like,
Yeah.
literally, I've gotten 8 notifications while I'm sitting here. I've texted about 3 people.
Right.
Like, I'm doing 8 different things as I'm doing this one thing. And my office manager has to tell me in meetings to, like, stop. I need you to look at us. Like,
Right.
because I know you're doing some stuff, but you are not. And I'm like, okay, hold on. Wait. I'm looking at you like, but because I feel like I have so much I have to do.
Right.
And so I do think that that's a piece of it, because it can get overwhelming.
Yeah.
That idea of having all the hats that we wear as adults can just get overwhelming. And I'm telling you, my parents, I swear, I told my daughter this. I was like, look, my parents didn't ask me what school I wanted to go to. Now it's all this competition with your own kids. So you got to be at the school. You got to be active.
Yeah.
My parents, they were active. They were very prominent in my life, but they weren't like, so do you want me to drive 30 minutes to take you to X school? Mm-mm. They was like, you about to catch this bus. The school right around the corner is very good.
Right.
Do well.
Make do.
Have a good day.
I get it.
And so I
Right.
just think that we have taken on a lot as like parents and business owners and
Yeah.
daughters and wives and sisters and brothers and husbands and all this. We just have taken on a lot, and I think it contributes to that adult ADHD where you eventually like, I can't remember shit.
Yeah, I can't focus.
I can't remember anything. So I just thought that was a very interesting piece that you informed me about earlier.
Yep.
These are all, by the way, the topics that we're talking about are actually abuses of legal drugs. Just so you know,
Yeah.
the first topic was illegal, and now we're going to go ahead and go into like drugs that you can actually get from your doctor or a doctor, and why they're being abused and what is it that's happening. So society plays a role in these ADHD meds. Clearly, the expectations that are put on us, put on our children,
Right.
plays a role in this. Oh my gosh, painkillers.
Oh yeah.
Those are pretty obvious.
That's been abused for quite some time.
Forever.
Yeah.
Like, actually, forever. When you
Yeah.
think about all the celebrities and stuff that have died overdosing.
Exactly. And that's actually one of like the unfortunate side effects. It falls into the opioid classification of drugs, but essentially it's a depressant if you want to categorize it.
So we had three categories: depressant,
Stimulants, and hallucinogenics.
Okay.
So this would be considered a depressant.
Okay.
It's going to slow down everything. Now, how it works is like a painkiller is, it is specifically Percocet is kind of morphine-like. So it's going to attach to a receptor and basically desensitize you to pain. So there's still pain there, but it blocks neurotransmitters from picking up on that signal. But what it also does is it kind of slows down a lot of things. One of them is breathing. So when you overdose, you stop breathe. You'll slow down.
So what
your
is a typical
breathing.
cause of death when you overdose? Is it heart attack? Is it respiratory? Is it a respiratory attack that leads into?
It's usually like a cardiac arrest.
Okay.
Yeah, it's usually like a heart condition. But typically, I believe the person will like fall asleep because everything becomes so sluggish.
Right.
So they'll kind of like fall asleep or they're very relaxed, and then they have this heart episode that they're not even aware of.
Okay.
And then, yeah.
So it's depressed your system to the point of any sort of pain or any sort of like, hey, I'm not feeling good.
Right.
You can't even respond to because
Exactly.
you're so depressed.
Sedated, right.
Sedated.
Right.
So can you give some names or some street names of any of these drugs that you know of?
Street names.
I mean, besides the obvious perks.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
they just call it. Well, I mean, this was a topic not too long ago, like lean, like
Okay.
syrup.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just a liquid form.
Yeah, it's just a liquid form of
codeine,
codeine.
with promethazine. So,
So that's one of the many street names. So
Yeah.
we have Perks, which is Percocet. We have Lean, which is another common one. A lot of my patients, of course, like Oxys, which is oxycodone.
Right.
That's
I guess they just
common.
abrevieate the names.
And everything's kind of
Right.
abbreviated. But so there's oxycodones, there's Percocets, there's Lean, and now these drugs, from what I understand, they used to be pretty cheap to get on the street. Now, since they've regulated how we write them, so with us having to use triplicates, now that doesn't mean that you guys are seeing a significant decrease in them.
We are not.
They try to regulate how doctors give them away. And so back in the day, I used to be able to call in any
Yeah.
level drug. I could call it in and say, hey, this is Dr. Batiste. Here's all my information. My patient needs 20 oxys. Take in, dispense them, blah, 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 blah. Give everything they need. And they would nobody even call me back. They'd be like, okay, cool.
Right.
Now you need a specialized form
Yep.
that I have to pay for every year. And that form is like gold in my office. We actually keep it in a safe because we don't want it to walk away, because if it walks away, that's actually my license on the
Yeah.
line. So this little form is a very special form that was not needed before. However, it didn't slow it down. So I have a pharmacist that comes to my office all the way from Corpus Christi, and he's a retail pharmacy. And he says, I said, so yeah, now with the triplicate, y'all ain't
Y'all
seeing it
good.
so much. He was like, well, actually, yesterday, oh my God, what was it? I think it was Oxy. No, it was Lortab, 7.5s. So he was like, yeah, yesterday 5,000 tabs came off of my shelf.
What?
Legal prescriptions.
5,000?
5,000 tabs.
Wow.
So he's in a slightly rural area. He's in the outskirts of Corpus. So Corpus Christi is the closest city to him. And I was like,
Is he near a
almost
pain
fell
clinic?
over. You know what? I don't know. But he said that there is one specific doctor that's all he writes. And one of them.
They know that.
Yeah.
The people getting it know that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so what irritates my pharmacist friend was that he writes, and don't make me lie right now, but he writes some level of narcotic for tonsillectomies.
Okay.
So that's the removal of tonsils. And typically that happens before you're 13, 14, 15. So 15 and younger is the most common age for tonsillectomies. You getting your tonsils out in your 20s and 30s is not the most fun procedure, and most doctors don't even like to do them.
Right.
But he's writing these prescriptions for these children. And my pharmacist friend is like, they are depressants.
Yeah.
So the patient has a clogged up throat from surgery, and we, just like you said, patients can stop breathing.
Yeah.
So these babies, these 5-year-olds, these 6-year-olds have passed away being put on these drugs because they have been prescribed something for a procedure that wasn't necessary. And he says he has called this doctor and got into it with him hundreds of times.
Oh my goodness.
And the doctor refuses to change his mind.
He doesn't have to feel them all. He probably doesn't. He may not.
He informs the patient of his disagreement, of how he feels about them. He tells him, look, because it's been prescribed, you can actually get mad at me for not giving the prescription to you. So I'm going to give you this prescription. However, my recommendation is those 800 milligrams of Motrin that you can buy over the counter.
Right.
So I missed my cue. So I'm so sorry, KOG, because this is my favorite ad, and I love it so much. But this portion of the show is actually sponsored by KOG and Company. Are your unique gifts and talents changing the world? Unleash Your Dopeness is a people empowerment movement built to encourage the masses to operate outside of their fears and have the gall to recklessly pursue their dreams and passions in life. Join thousands of others as we unlock the greatness that dwells inside. Shop dope gear at kogpassion.com. That's kogpassion.com and use coupon code DOPE with an exclamation point for 10% off exclusive Unleash Your Dopeness apparel. Act now. Sizes are selling out fast.
Awesome.
It's just really, that's an amazing thing that she's doing. So the idea for the prescription pain meds is that they're easy to access.
Yeah.
However, their street value, from what I understand, used to be, I don't know. Once again, I don't know. I just, from what I hear.
You're not a user.
I'm not a user. It used to be, let's just say, for discussion's sake, $5 a pill. Now these pills are running at $30 a pill or $60 a pill. They've gotten way more exclusive. And so that has led to the heroin epidemic, because these drugs give the same feeling
They do.
as heroin.
Right.
And so I have patients who ask me for a narcotic, and I tell them, no.
You don't need it.
You don't need it.
Right.
You actually don't need it. Your wisdom tooth extraction does not need a narcotic.
Right.
You want a narcotic because you're going to fall asleep. You're going to feel more refreshed. You're going to feel kind of nothing.
Right. You feel a nothingness.
But it's a nothingness. It's not that the pain is actually gone. It's the fact that the side effects of the drug have made you so high that you're unable to feel the pain.
Right.
And then I'm like, it's like heroin. And they're like, no, what? No.
Yes,
I'm like,
it's a derivative of heroin.
It is heroin. And I'm like, so I'm going to need you to go ahead and take this Toradol, Tramadol, and get the step in.
Right.
Because it's going to provide you what you need.
Good
now, you're not going to
job.
be sleepy. Mm-hmm. And if you are, congratulations. But I'm not. What I'm not going to do is be right. Because I used to write them all the time. I mean, literally, my triplicate was...
Yeah.
It had flames coming off the back of it. And then I was like, you know what? This is not a side hustle for me. Like, I'm the dope boy, and I'm not living a dope boy life, okay?
Right.
I don't have all the Chanel bags I want. I don't have all
It's
these
not
things.
paying off for you.
It isn't. So since it was not paying off like I needed to,
Right.
and I felt like I was becoming more of a menace than actually helping my patients, I completely stopped writing them.
Yeah.
Because I went from like writing Vicodin, like lower tabs and all that, to Vicoprofens. I was like, oh, it's better. Yeah. That's better. And I was like, you don't even need that. No, I'm just going to take the whole Vico off of this and give you just something that's an
Right.
an anti-inflammatory. It's going to do what you want it to do.
Right.
If you need more than that, I would suggest you take a nap, reevaluate this, eat you some ice cream.
Get you some hot tea.
Right. Put some ice packs on.
Right.
Read my post-op instructions, and you'll be fine.
Right.
And I actually called an oral surgeon friend of mine, because, of course, they do way more traumatic surgeries than I do.
Right.
And I was like, what's your go-to? And he was like, Tramadol. I was like, no. What's your number one prescription for your patient that comes in
surgeries.
for major surgery? He was like,
Tramadol.
Tramadol. And I changed all my prescriptions that day.
Yeah.
I was like, my go-to is now tramadol.
Same pain benefit, same pain blocking benefit, less addictive.
Yeah.
The tolerance for it, like you don't really see tramadol tolerance built, but you see it with opioids. So they have to take like an increased amount to even get the feeling they're trying to get. Or if they actually do ever need it for pain, they're gonna have to take exactly. It won't the normal dose won't work. They build up a tolerance for it.
And then they end up overdosing because they're taking, instead of 2, well, they were taking 10 a day, 20 a day. They're taking way too many, and then they take that, ooh, man, I need 30. And then they
go to sleep and they
don't wake up. Okay, well, that's all fair. And so the last group that we were going to talk about are called benzodiazepines. And that's our depressant group, correct?
It's typically used for like anxiety, and it helps you sleep.
Yes. So those are the
those
ones
like
that,
sedatives.
Yeah. So those are the ones that I give my patients to sedate them.
Yeah.
I give them Halcyon. And so.
Right.
It's great.
I had to get a procedure, and I was trying to ask Dr. Ellis can you give me something to take the edge off? Anything. Like, she wouldn't. So I said, fine, I'll just take Benadryl. So I come in.
I have my conscious sedation permit, and so I do write. I don't write. I administer in the office, because one of the recommendations is to give the patient in the office.
Yes.
Because if you don't, and patients have fought me over this. I'm talking about because they know that they can go get the prescription for like $5. And I don't charge $5 because you're actually paying for my expertise to monitor you. And so patients will be like, I mean, I can just take it. You give me the prescription. I promise you. I'm like, see, so that whole promise you thing,
right.
When you take that pill at the crib and you just trying to cut back time and you crash into a light pole.
Exactly.
That's on me. So, sorry. Like, and people are like, well, and I try to explain to them, like, these are anti-anxieties. They're sedatives.
Right. This falls into that depressant category. It literally like slows down your brain.
Okay.
So it's there to help you sleep, to calm you down, to take the edge off any anxiety. It impairs your ability to drive, to think properly, to react to situations. Your reaction's a little off.
Yeah. And so people who abuse these, there are people who are truly anxious and require them, or they need help sleeping, or these sorts of things. And of course, these are low doses that they're taking every day
that they should be starting on. Yes.
Right. And so of course, if you build up a tolerance, because you shouldn't be on these things forever either.
That's the other key thing. They are actually for short-term use, and you have people that they are so addicted, like they are highly addictive. So people get to a point where they feel like they need it,
right?
And they're not made for chronic use.
Right. So anybody who's been on Valium for 3 years is not a good idea.
Yeah,
they should look into other ways,
some other coping mechanisms.
So can you give us some of these other coping mechanisms?
Yeah, absolutely. So before you jump to pharmacologic treatments or drugs, you can try non-pharmacologic treatments. So everything from chiropractic care is actually a really good option. It really works on, people that have high blood pressure, pain. You can try chiropractic care for that. Meditation is actually really good. So if you have anxiety, just that more mindfulness state of being helps with, irritability and anxiousness, and helps with sleep. Acupuncture is another one. I'm not well versed on acupuncture, but I've heard a lot of people resort to that before jumping to medications.
Sure.
Sure. And
exercise.
Exercise is a big one. All those neurotransmitters that we were talking about earlier, dopamine, serotonin, the things that make you feel happy.
So
exercise.
Could you just have sex?
Yes.
Sex should be on here. Healthy sex.
Be.
Healthy sex should be something on our list.
Healthy, safe sex.
Right. Right. That should be on there.
Yes.
Okay.
It creates all kind of endorphins and makes you feel good and happy.
Yeah.
So add that to your list.
It's a medical recommendation.
Yes.
It's coming from 2 doctors.
I approve that.
She approves of it. Hey, Clearly, I approve of it. I'm walking around here with a baby. Okay, so the proof is here. The proof is here.
And you laughing and you happy. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then the last would be travel.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Just kind of changing your environment. I mean, I think a lot of therapists encourage that, like changing your surroundings, kind of removing yourself from the situation. And then you actually put yourself in a position to kind of slow down from life, right? Because you were talking earlier about how we're jumping from this task to the other. You put yourself in a position when you're traveling to slow down. You have more time. You could meditate. You could exercise. All those. You could have sex. All those wonderful things we just talked about
in a foreign country
while you're traveling.
It's
all of these are
fantastical.
like,
Yeah.
alternative methods to popping a pill and getting this quick effect.
fix.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
this quick fix.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of natural ways to get the same effect.
Well, I would like to thank this wonderful doctor, Dr. Shenita Outland,
Thank you.
for coming today, because clearly Dr. Simone has better things to do.
I'm about to go stalk her Instagram.
Oh no! Wait till
she's
wait
not in
till I
class.
talk to her. Wait till I talk to her. I need receipts.
Right.
Okay. So we will of course like to thank you again for coming.
Thank you.
I sincerely appreciate it. I know this is time out of your day, and we appreciate you here at the Docs, and of course Gary and the Sphere appreciate you as well. If you could please one last time give everyone how they can reach you, and all that wonderful stuff, please.
Yeah, so any pharmacy related questions, please feel free to email me at droutland06@gmail.com. And I am also a huge advocate for one of those methods of dealing with life, and that's travel. So you can find me on social media at World Travelista 08 on both Twitter and Instagram. So
Oh, that's wonderful.
yeah,
Look at that. Look at you.
yeah, that's my drug. That's my therapy.
Oh, is it? Yeah. You love to travel.
I'm out of here.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So I have a trip in Jamaica in May. So what y'all gonna see is like tone right here.
Yes.
I mean, it's not gonna be like sickly, but I'm gonna be so fine. My snapback gonna be right. It's gonna be right.
I'm excited for you.
Not making child number 4, but we'll be doing all the other methods.
Right.
That's alternative to pharmaceuticals.
Right.
So thank you again for coming.
Thanks for having me.
We thank you for joining us today on the Docs. This has been a wonderful, wonderful segment on drugs and all their effects and the unfortunate abuse of them that's very prevalent in our society. We thank you for it. Please share this episode with your friends and family. I am Dr. Ashandra Batiste. If you need a dentist, all of us need a dentist, but if you just want another dentist, I'm available to you. My dental practice is Elite Dental Wellness, and I'm located at the corner of Fondren and Westheimer, www.houstondentalwellness.com, or you can reach me at 713-789-8680, or you can just follow me on Instagram at hotdoc.com. It's right there. Or Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, blah, blah, blah. Ashandra Batiste. We thank you so much. We'll see you guys next week. Peace out.